Welcome back to AutoLooks.net. I'm Everett, your host, and today we're looking at autonomous vehicles. We all know they're coming. We all know they're going to be here soon, and Tesla has actually helped us push autonomous technology through their autopilot system and basically pushing us to the forefront of creating autonomous vehicles. Now, today's society, we're only up to level 3 autonomous vehicles, which means we still need to maintain control of it. But in the future, when level 5 autonomous vehicles come out, we won't be in control of it. It's going to take over and it's going to drive us around. Basically, like calling up a cab or an Uber or a Lyft to bring us from place to place. Now, autonomous vehicles do actually have some sort of benefits. And if you take a look inside of them, there are some pretty cool things. In some ways, it will benefit society. Of course, just like with every benefit, there is also something bad and a downside to it. And then on top of it, there are a few questions we have to ask the autonomous producers of the world. Now, getting back to the good points of this, autonomous vehicles are going to be safer for the roads. Okay, a little bit less crashes, a little bit less tailgating, and people actually driving the proper speeds. Because we all know when it's snowing outside and there's 2 inches of snow on the road I travel on into town, the speed limit is 90 kilometers an hour. Yes, I'm in Canada. And I always get those apple of people who are driving full-size pickup trucks doing 110, 120, flying past me thinking they're better than everybody else. Well, autonomous vehicles would be slowing down to, well, probably a very boring 70 or 80 kilometers an hour, as long as the programming knows that it can actually maintain that speed in safe conditions. There will be a little bit more ease of access. Autonomous vehicles, I don't know if you've seen some of the concepts out there, a lot of them will be tall, more like cube vehicles. This will make it a little bit easier. The Continental B was one of those things. It's very great. The door slides open, and you basically just walk inside the vehicle with a bunch of other people. They all can congregate together on freeways, bring people all from the outer areas or suburban areas, which a lot of young people don't like anymore since they're moving into towns. But it moves it from the suburban areas into the cities and then breaks apart to go to all their destinations. Now, if there's a few other people in the ride, they all have to wait to get to their spot. There's better commuting involved. We've all seen, the commuter parking lots on the side of, interstates or 400 series highways, which help people commute together to work. But with autonomous vehicles, it'll make it a lot easier. Because like I said, there's Continental B, just go and take a look at it. These things group together on the highway and just keep going out. There's no parking a car on the side of the highway in this giant parking lot. It's just pavement, boringness. You can start adding trees, some ponds, get some wildlife back in there. Unlike where I live, there's lots of wildlife. Direct routing. You'll be able to go on an autonomous vehicle, call it up. See, you need an independent one to take you from here just to go to the grocery store, pick up a few things, and come home. Well, it's just like a cab, right? You can pay your monthly subscription fee. You get in your vehicle, or your autonomous vehicle when it arrives, hop in, go there, catch up on some Facebook or Twitter or whatever else you want to basically follow on. It brings you to your stop, you get out, do your grocery, come back, and away you go, right? A little bit better, direct. A little bit better and easier than taking a city bus. Unfortunately, when it does come to autonomous vehicles, that's one of those things where I have to put on the bad side. Multi-commuting, we already basically talked about that, as the groupings of them on the interstate highways bringing you from one place to another place. This can also happen between cities, too. It can also happen, basically from suburb to suburb. If there's a whole bunch of people actually going to the same area, but they all don't get the exact same autonomous vehicle stopping by their house, they can all congregate together, do a multi-commute. Bad sides of this, I hope, I've always had a fight, or not really a fight, but, an angst against police officers in a sense, because, they've kind of come backlash against some of our industries that we talk about here. The aftermarket industry, they have big hate towards, and they always like to blame that speed is the number one cause of people dying. I'd like to fight on that one. But unfortunately, police officers, when autonomous vehicles come out, some of you on the highway patrol system may actually have to start looking for new jobs, as there will be a requirement for less police officers, because police officers can only pull over somebody who's going fast, and an autonomous vehicle will not go past the speed limit unless you reprogrammed it to go faster than the speed limit. On top of this, There's less tickets handed out, which means there's less people going to traffic courts, which means you need less lawyers, less judges, less paper. That's kind of good, right? Going for a green environment. Well, less officers handing that out. So a lot of the people in the judicial system, you might have to watch out for your jobs when the autonomous vehicle revolution actually takes forward. Now, like I said, we're only level 3 right now. Level 5 is coming within the next, 15 to 20 years. And then for some of the other industries we're just about to talk about in the bad situation, they're still going to require at least 10 to 15 years before they fully develop into them. Some people like that would be cab drivers. Now, unfortunately, these will be the first people hit by autonomous technology. Why? Because companies like Uber and Lyft are already looking at autonomous level 5 vehicles taking over for the people they have to pay as drivers. Because now they don't have to pay for drivers. They got to pay for these little pods. You pay your monthly subscription to them for the amount of rides you need to go, or you pay into the system, and they say you have bill a month for how far you've traveled. This is actually kind of brings us into a good point, because with autonomous vehicles, when you're paying Uber and that, the government can actually just hop in there and say, hey, Uber, you can charge people for the utilization of your vehicle, but we're also going to be charging you for the utilization of our roads. You get taxed a certain percentage, and now Uber puts that onto your bill, plus a little bit of extra tax on it, because they got to make money off of you making money, or the government making money, right? Everybody's going to get their hands in the pot. So there's a good point of it. We're actually not going to lose money for our road system. Not like if everybody switched over to non-autonomous electric vehicles, where who pays for the roads? Because gasoline pays for the roads now. Electricity doesn't pay for the roads. Electricity has to pay for its own grid system. Another person that's going to be looking for work is basically transport drivers. Transport drivers, sorry to say, my uncle actually just hopped into this field. Within the next, let's say, 20 years, some transport drivers within inner city areas or long distance are going to be starting to get replaced by the autonomous drivers. Why? Because why do we want to pay this truck driver, 6 figures, or no, not every one of them, but in some cases, in between, $50,000 to $100,000 a year to transport materials from back and forth, when they are only allowed to work a certain amount of hours per day, unless they got to take breaks and you got to work all that in. With an autonomous vehicle, we just load the frickin' thing up, we make sure it's got enough power to get from here to there, and we just let it go. Don't have to worry about stopping, don't have to worry about sleep, don't have to worry about, filling up, nothing. So those are some people that are going to have to worry about the drivers. The next one that's going to have to worry about their drivers are, unfortunately, people within college and university. A lot of them become delivery drivers. You got a car, you're willing to pay a little bit more premium on your insurance, you become a delivery driver. Unfortunately, Domino's is already looking into this with their delivery robots. I get it, it's a robot, but it still actually works as an autonomous vehicle, because they put the pizza in this guy. He commutes out to your place, delivers your pizza, you pay him, bam. No more delivery driver. It means, as a person, I don't have to give anybody a tip, because why the hell would I tip a robot? Domino's got to pay to fix them. That's their problem. I just pay a premium to have him deliver it to my house. But now you don't have to pay delivery drivers. So here's a kid that's out of a job. The other thing we have to ask that's kind of bad with autonomous vehicles is rerouting. No, that horrible sound on your GPS when there's an accident, or you're like, hey, I want to go that way, and you get that horrible rerouting. That stupid crap. I get it all the time in my work vehicle, that crappy little Ford Escape. It likes to tell me that. Siri likes to tell me that on my phone too. And Google Maps likes to tell me that every once in a while too. I hate it. So let's just ask autonomous vehicles. This is a question that we have to answer. We have to ask them. Maybe they can answer it for us. It's rerouting. If you guys developed a system into that, where it's like, oh, I want to go to the grocery store. Oh, I accidentally hit that they're going to be taking me to Walmart. No, I want to go to like Loblaws. I want to go to Sobeys. I want to go, I want to go someplace a little bit more fresher than there. Or, hey, I was going to go buy a phone. I don't want to go to a big box store. I just want to go directly to, the Apple store. It's at the mall, man. I need to reroute it. How do we do that? How are you guys going to develop this into the system? That's an answer they have to actually answer for us before a lot of people give into that. Here's the next question. What is the biggest issue with an autonomous vehicle when you're someone like myself, a parent? Who are the most unpredictable people in any vehicle out there? Children. What are children famous for saying right after you've left that stop on the side of the highway? I have to pee now. Okay? Emergency stops. If I already set my autonomous system in, well, here's a question to answer. How do I do an emergency stop with that so I can let my child pee on the side of the highway? Because we all know people who have done that and people that still do that. Right? How many of us have peed on the side of the highway? That's something you have to ask an autonomous vehicle, because you have to ask the programmers, will you put that system in? Because the side of the highway is not a direct stop. It's an emergency. It's something you got to do. And just like rerouting, something you actually have to ask that autonomous vehicles will get rid of is the road trip. Now, I was just watching Harold and Kumar go to White Castle today, and I was thinking to myself as I was watching it, saying to myself, I got to do my episode on autonomous vehicles. This movie is great for autonomous vehicles because if Harold and Kumar had hopped into that Camry, if it was they popped in the autonomous system to go to White Castle where they thought it was, if it showed up on the map and they get it there and it's Burger Barn, well, then they have to reroute and go to the next one. But it would just take them from that Burger Barn location to the actual White Castle location, 45 minutes away. Now, they wouldn't have made the stop at Princeton to go to that party and find some stuff. They wouldn't have run in to Roldy and them out of the bush. They wouldn't have been attacked by a raccoon, stopped, take a piss. They wouldn't have, basically wound up in all those funny situations because the vehicle would have just gone from point A to point B. There would be no point C, D, E, F, G, H, I, none of that funny stuff. So how do you make a movie like that? Make it funny when you have autonomous vehicles? It's another question you have to ask. Road trips. How many of us in the middle of the night been like, I'm craving a burger. I know what I want. It's an hour away. I'm driving there. I've driven literally an hour and a half to the next city over with my best friend in the middle of the night because we were craving something we didn't have here. And at that time, our city didn't have 24-hour grocery shopping because we were stuck in the dark ages. So we had to go town over an hour and a half away to go pick up some groceries at 2 o'clock in the morning because we got munchies. We're freaking hungry for it. Autonomous vehicle? How will we do that? Unexpected issues. Here's what you have to ask yourself. Unexpected issue. You get a flat tire. I drive in every single day on a road that's famous for potholes. Well, let's just say the city I live in is famous for potholes altogether. You get a damaged tire. How does the system automatically respond to that? Something we have to ask ourselves. In emergencies like that, malfunction in the system, how do we gain control and how does the autonomous system handle that? That is a question that has to be answered before people become really trusting of these systems. That falls in line with breakdowns. Let's say you want to take over the vehicle, like there's you're in town, you get a damaged tire, and the autonomous vehicle doesn't register it because there's a glitch in the system and it's just going and going and going. Wouldn't it just be great if it was like the movie Demolition Man? Sylvester Stallone said, autopilot disengage, and he just takes over the vehicle and drives away, right? No, we would actually suck. Let's just say that it's developed that in the system, just glitch in the system. They may not do that, they may be stuck in the system. And what happened at the end of that movie, when the steering wheel would come out, is it crashed right through, I can't remember the name of the city, the Los Angeles Police Department, whatever the hell it was. It crashed through that sign and all that foam on the inside and the stupid safety foam crap blew up and Sylvester Stallone had to punch his way out. That's where we have to ask a question. What happens when the system has a glitch and there are issues with it? How do we solve those issues? How do we take control of the vehicle? Because we're humans. We still remember how to take control of these vehicles. And unfortunately, no matter what form of autonomous technology we have out there, we still have to train people how to handle and how to drive a vehicle. Because if you don't know how to drive a vehicle and it starts breaking down, what do you do when you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere? especially if there's no cell reception. And not everywhere, even within 30 years, you're still going to have cell reception everywhere, okay? Last thing we have to ask autonomous vehicles and the programmers behind them is who is responsible when it comes to damages, when it comes to an accident. We went through this last year with Google when their autonomous vehicle they were testing out had an accident. Who was responsible? Was it the programmer at Google? Was it the person within the vehicle who was still there that was supposed to maintain control of the vehicle that was responsible? Was it Google? Or just check out the tracking cameras. Maybe the other car just drove in front of them or hit the broadside and the vehicle couldn't respond fast enough. That is another thing we have to ask ourselves. Who is responsible for the damages and the accident? Okay? Now, until we can actually obtain all these answers, I still believe the consumers out in the world today will not be trusting with level 5 autonomous vehicles until you can actually answer that question to us. I know the emergency stop one is a big thing for me because when my child tells me they have to pee now, within 5 minutes, I am slowing down, I am stopping, and I'm letting them pee on the side of the highway with the door open so nobody can see. Until that day happens, that I can just hit a stop button, go off the side of the road, and let my kid pee. Autonomous vehicles will not be trusting in my world. Okay? So let's have a recap. There's some good points, there's some bad points, and there's some questions that we have to ask ourselves about autonomous vehicles. Now, I'm Everett from AutoLooks.net, and keep following us on our Facebook feed, our Twitter feed. Hell, like us on our Facebook feed and Twitter feed. Follow this video on YouTube, and keep watching AutoLooks.net for all our updates and reviews on vehicles. I'm Everett from AutoLooks.net saying, hey, strap yourself in and hold on for this one wild ride with AutoLooks.net.